Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, my beautiful brothers and sisters, and welcome to the first official episode of the Becoming Her series. I know this took a while, but I've been working on college apps and it's just been a very stressful time. Alhamdulillah, I'm done now, so here I am. Again, I'm really sorry for the amount of time this took, but we're going to start off strong with the topic of this episode being changing and fortifying your mentality because you wouldn't be quote unquote her if you didn't have the proper mentality. The best advice that I've ever gotten on this topic is this: your mind needs to get to your destination before your life does. You need to get your mind into whatever it is that you're doing because in order to change your reality, you first need to change your mentality. In other words, you need to change what's inside of you in order to change what's around you. And that's exactly what I'm aiming to do with this episode. Before truly changing your life, you need to rewire your brain. And if you don't, then the whole purpose of what we're trying to do here is lost. We're trying to create a life that you don't want to escape from because of how bad it is or because of how much you desire something else for whatever reason. We're creating a life that you actually want to live. And that all starts inside of you, not on the outside. The one thing I found while going through this process myself was that the old thinking patterns that I had were really holding me back. One side of my brain would say, let me read Surah Mulk before going to bed. What my old self would say would like tell me, you're tired, go to sleep now and maybe treat yourself. And I kept on finding myself being held back by these thoughts. It was sort of like a battle. And not even that, it would also go back onto certain things like not being self-aware or bringing back memories and living in the past when it was so obvious that my present was nowhere near my past. Like what I have now is so much better than what I have before, and what I'm going to have for my future, what I'm creating for myself for the future is so much better than what I had in my past. And I kept on just bringing back all of these old negative emotions and letting it ruin what I have in the present, which is so toxic to yourself. So do yourself a favor and let go of everything in the past that is negative. Of course, use those things as lessons for the future. Don't hold on to those emotions because they are going to end up hurting you. So, rewiring my brain, as you can tell, was very hard, but it's also very important. And by this, I don't mean you're gonna have to like completely be able to think differently. What you're doing is fortifying your mind with new concepts and reassurance so that when these old patterns do come around to stop what you're doing, which I promise you they will, you'll be well equipped to fight them off. And again, it does tend to get hard. This is because we get so used to the way we think that we think it's normal that we don't stop for a second and think, how did I get to this point where I subconsciously don't even need to try for something bad or negative to go through my head? As I said before, this was a very big struggle for me, and I had a hard time changing a lot of my thinking patterns. One of the biggest changes that I've made is instead of always thinking I was going to fail at whatever I did, I forced myself to always think better of myself. Self deprecation is very normal nowadays, and we always, like, before we start doing anything, we're always like, yeah, I'm just doing this for fun, or yeah, I know I'm gonna fail, but I'm still doing it simply because you don't want the embarrassment of failing or you don't want to admit to yourself that you actually find something interesting. Literally, just try your hardest and stop this way of thinking because so what I did was I forced myself to always think better of myself and to believe in myself. I wouldn't be in the place I am in right now if it weren't for that. You need to put faith in yourself and your abilities. No one is going to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself first. And yes, you may have a best friend that supports you through whatever it is that you do. However, this support will only get you so far. If you don't learn to support yourself through whatever it is that you want to do, and if you don't become your own biggest supporter, your own biggest fan, you're not going to go very far. Because let me just put it in perspective. Imagine if you had someone who constantly told you what you were doing was going to fail, that you were just never going to succeed at anything. Every time you want to start doing something, or you have a new goal, or you have an aspiration or a hobby that you want to pursue, and then they tell you that you're going to fail at it. That's going to take a toll on you, right? It's going to cause a lot of doubt in yourself and the abilities that you have. So why would you be that person to yourself? Growing from this I can't do this mentality to a mentality of I can do whatever it is I put my mind to as long as I have a logical plan and I follow it. Put your faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and go do what it is that you need to do. It's so important to believe in yourself. And I begin with this mentality first before anything, because you will not go anywhere if you do not believe in yourself. You need to have the amount of belief in yourself that will take you through this whole entire life. A lot of us are so insecure in ourselves. You're so insecure, and that is holding you back from doing a lot of things. You need to stop the mentality, these thoughts that constantly cross your brain, because it's so detrimental, not to you, but to the life that you want to live. Like, it's detrimental to your present and your future. You need to stop those thoughts. You need to tell yourself, look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that you're enough. You are perfectly enough. You have the ability to do whatever it is that you want. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is right next to you as you do all of these things, as long as they're halal. So stop saying that you're not enough, because I promise you, you are. Next, I want to talk about having a growth mentality. In order to do everything that we're planning on doing here, you need to have a growth mentality. I remember one of my teachers a few years ago was talking about how a lot of us think learning is something we only engage in when we're at school and it's going to end when we graduate college, but in reality, we are lifelong learners, or at least that's what you need to be in order to be successful. We constantly learn new things, and from that, we constantly grow, whether it's internal or external growth. And whether in a secular point of view or in an Islamic point of view, your life, or at least a large portion of it, is going to be about growing. I don't mean as in having major growth all the time. I mean as in we study every day, when you learn something new. That's growth. We mature and change how we look at relationships. That's growth. We teach ourselves what a real healthy friendship is like, and we start treating them better. That's growth. Wherever you look in your life, there is always going to be some sort of growth. And of course, there will be pinpoints in your life where you'll choose to go through a time of major growth or positive change. Like right now, you're listening to this to help you on that journey. You're allowed to just get up one day and decide to change who you are. You can start dressing differently. You can make different friends. You can speak up more. Whatever it is that you want to do, you can do it. And it's important to understand this mentality, because if you have the opposite mentality of a growth mentality, it would be you're going to stay the same as you are now for the rest of your life. So if you do have this mentality of, I'm going to stay the same for the rest of my life, it's very dangerous to put yourself in a box such as this, because you're not allowing any space for yourself to grow. You're not allowing any space for yourself to improve. You're literally killing yourself and any success that you could have achieved before you even started, before you even tried to achieve that success. Don't stay the way you are right now out of fear of what other people will say. And I've noticed this a lot when I'm talking to a lot of different people. I've noticed that they'll say, what will my parents think if I start, dressing a certain way? What will my parents think if I start covering myself more? What will my friends think if I stop swearing? They're going to make fun of me for being too religious. And it honestly does not matter if they like the change, as long as you're happy with whatever it is, whatever change that you have made. That's what truly matters. And frankly, if they don't like the you that you are and the you that you want to be, then leave them behind. And I understand that's really hard if the people that are giving negative reactions to the change that you're trying to make are family, like your parents. But the best thing to do is ignore it, because if it is good change, if it is change that makes you happy, if it's something that you want to do, then their disapproval is toxic. Their disapproval is not something that you should be listening to, and you should do it for yourself. And I can't stress this enough. Coming from me, this is like I have just throughout my whole entire life, I have cared way too much about what other people think. And I can tell you it's not worth it. You for then just stop being around them. Like if your friends ridicule you for being a hijabi or being a niqabi or talking about Islam a lot, drop them. They are not worth being friends with. I know it's hard, and again, this is coming from someone who had to cut off a lot of toxic people. And when I say a lot, I mean like I had to cut off so many people. I quite literally rebranded my whole entire life. The people that I had in my life a year ago, I do not have any of them in my life right now. So I mean, I think I can speak from experience when I say that it's really hard. I know it's really hard, but you can do it. And maybe it'll take some time for you, and that's absolutely fine. But the thing is, this is the best thing that you can do for yourself. If you have toxic people around you, go out and find yourself people, or even just one person that is supportive and who love you for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And remember this the next time anyone decides to bring you down for anything. Confidence is quiet and insecurity is loud. If they are insecure in themselves, they're more likely to come at you for things that you seem secure in. Or, like, as Muslim women, we look different. We are just like, we wear hijab, we wear niqab, abayas, whatever it is that you wear, we're gonna look different. And these people, they see us, right? And if they do say anything about you, it's most likely not even going to stem from you actually like looking different. It's and they're insecure in the fact that you're so secure in yourself that you're able to do something like wear abaya and wear hijab in a Western community where literally no one else is going to look like you. So have some faith in yourself and stop listening to any toxic people in your life, and find people that are actually going to support you and love you for who you are, because I promise you, wallahi, there are people out there that will. Your top priority, especially as you go forward in this series, is your own peace of mind and having true friends. And not even that, just like, again, having just one true friend that unconditionally loves and support you is more than enough. And that brings me to my next point. I've learned that no matter what I do, people's perspective of me will not change. They won't magically start respecting you, and they won't change their minds about you after you've changed yourself, right? People will perceive you from the level of perception that they are able to understand or are comfortable with. So stop thinking about what others will think. That's such a bad mentality to have. Be who you want to be, because you only live one life. Live it the way you want to, and don't let anyone or anything hold you back. The one thing that you need to understand is that people will always have something to say. So stop caring about what other people think, because there is, I promise, there's always going to be something. No matter, like, if you make $1 million and you become a millionaire, there's going to be someone that is going to say something bad. Like, that's a very good thing for yourself. People are always going to say something bad. So stop caring about what other people think and move forward in your journey and do whatever it is that you want to do. Because next, we're going to go on to one of my other big tips: confidence. When we think about people that are quote unquote her or it girls, we are going to think of someone that is very confident in themselves and their abilities. That is something that you need to embody. You need to be able to be confident in yourself and your abilities and what it is that you can do. Okay, and this goes back to my point about believing in yourself. You cannot be confident in yourself if you don't believe in yourself first. So you need to make sure you believe in yourself. One thing that I would recommend doing is getting a journal out and writing down all of your good points. And this is something that I did, and I have a very hard time acknowledging myself for all of the good things that I've done. So writing it out and seeing it all out on paper really changed my mentality, because just like looking on the paper, I became very appalled, I'm not even gonna lie, at everything that I've done, because like I literally sat and the whole entire paper was filled with everything that I have done. And I just like, you never know how much you have done yourself before you actually have it set right in front of you. We try to take what we have done and we try to belittle it. We try to make it seem like it's not much, when in reality, you've done so much. And it can go from anything from being nice to others, or I don't know, maybe you help the next door neighbor who's an old lady take the groceries from her car to her house, and you help her put them away because she's unable to. Like, things like that, even if they're small, there's something good. And you should be able to applaud yourself for that. You should be able to be proud of yourself for that. And you should acknowledge yourself for all the good things that you do. And this will lead to confidence in yourself, because you're not constantly degrading yourself. Degrading yourself, I know I've been talking about this a lot throughout this whole entire topic, but it's just like such an important thing to understand. You need to be able to believe in yourself. You need to be able to tell yourself that you're doing a good job without degrading yourself for something when you do something bad. When you do something bad, what you need to think is, okay, I've made a mistake. It was an accident. How can I learn from my mistake and do better next time? That is the kind of mentality that you're supposed to be having. And when you do this, I promise, the way you look at life, the way you look at yourself changes, because you're no longer telling yourself, "Oh, I messed up. I'm so bad." You're not constantly feeding yourself so much bad. You're not telling yourself that you are worthless, because when you do that, the amount of confidence you have in yourself, it lowers. The amount of insecurities you have, it grows. So you need to be able to be your number one supporter. And again, I know I've been saying this a lot, but these are such big themes that I've noticed. And just doing these few things, these are the basic blocks that are going to propel you forward throughout the rest of this journey. You know, you can wear as many abayas as you want. You can buy as many half niqabs or full niqabs, or you can like stop doing makeup and all of this. Of course, those are great things to implement, but a lot of those things you can't do without first having confidence in yourself. You can't walk into a room full of people wearing Western clothing with an abaya without the proper mentality. You cannot just go, like, if you are someone who wears makeup often and you know it's haram to an extent, like if you do like full glam every single day, you know it's haram, right? And like to be able to go from doing all of that makeup to going bare face, or at least close to bare face, it's something that takes a lot of confidence. You need to build up a lot of confidence. So make sure to start positive affirmations every single day. Like, for example, every single day, write down three things that you did and that is positive. And throughout, like, for example, a month, that's going to grow, because three things every single day for 30 days, at the end of the month you're going to look back and you're going to be like, oh wow, I've actually done a lot, you know? So making sure that you have that amount of confidence in yourself and you have the amount of belief, because like for example, if you're going to go forward and you're going to do something like, I want to start my own small business, okay? Because you're not going to be able to start a successful small business if you don't truly believe in yourself and your abilities. You need to believe in yourself. You need to tell yourself that you can do it, because if you like keep on telling yourself, I'm going to fail at this business isn't going to work, at one point your brain is going to be like, okay, then if it's not going to work out, then why am I trying so hard for it to work? So you need to make sure you are your own biggest supporter. I think that's like the 10th time I've said this in this episode, but I'm gonna keep on saying it. You need to be you need to be there for yourself, because in your hardest times, especially if you have a lot of toxic people around you, or if you don't have a lot of people that understand what it is that you're going to, you are going to be the only person that is going to be there for you every single moment of your life besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is so important, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to believe in you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to love you regardless of what it is that you do. And the rest of it is up to you. You tie the camel and Allah will do the rest and make sure it doesn't run away. So you love yourself to the best of your ability and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will do the rest. Like I promise you it works out. It will work out.